You are welcome to Africa Uncovered YouTube channel. My name is DJ, and today, we are going to be discussing something very, very important, and we're going to look at the president of Botswana elect. What did he do? That's what we are going to be discussing. So sit, relax, and fasten your seatbelt. Here we roll. The president of Botswana elect, Dumo Boko, has come out to join a voice among those Pan-African strong presidents that have tried to fight the American dominance on the African continent by, putting their military bases on the continent. Among the people that have been so vocal about this is the South African politician Julius Malema, the president of Uganda, His Excellency Museveni, and so many other presidents, including the president of Niger and, that region. Those guys that, took over through coups in that region have been so vocal about, the presence of America and how it has been stifling the development of the continent. Now, the president-elect of the Republic of Botswana has seemingly come out to say that very soon he is going to close the American military base in his country. We all understand that America has a military base near the capital of Botswana, and this has been helping them in their strategic missions across the continent of Africa. Now, the president-elect, who seems to be much of a Pan-Africanist, is saying that very soon he's going to see out the American base, close the American base, because he wants a solution for Africa to be African. There is no need why his country should be hosting an American military base. Now, why does America have bases in Africa? First of all, America has bases in the whole world in about 80 countries. But notably in Africa, America has bases in about 5 to 10 countries, including Djibouti, including Niger, where they have been dispersed of late. There is some sort of a military detachee base of some sort in Kenya, and so many other countries now, including Botswana. Now, the president of Botswana came out to declare that he doesn't want this anymore. We are going to look at why the United States has military bases in Africa. The United States has significant military presence in Africa, with bases and personnel scattered across the continent. So while the public, stated reasons for this presence often relates to security and cooperation, counterterrorism efforts, and humanitarian missions, the deeper factors involved, many of which are less, frequently discussed, definitely. The impact of these military footprints on Africa are also multifaceted, influencing political, economic, and social landscapes across Africa. America tells you that several governments face threats from militias and insurgents groups, so the US provides support to bolster the region's stability. For example, the US has been involved in training and equipping local forces in countries like Somalia, Niger, in order to combat the Al-Qaeda affiliated ISIS elements. But the hidden undertones, the hidden reasons as well as to why this is happening. America is trying to strategically position itself in a higher position to the competition as a geostrategic interest, and then having influence over the continent because they see China and Russia as their competition. As China and Russia expand their influence in Africa through investment, trade, and military cooperations, the US has also increasingly focused on maintaining its strategic partnerships and influence. So, what the US does is that it views its military presence as a counterbalance to these rival powers of Russia and China, particularly in countries where China is making significant infrastructure developments, like Djibouti, that hosts one of the largest, but the only base of China in Africa. So basically, China has only one military base in Africa, and that is in Djibouti. Now, America finds, that influence that China is now planting in that continent, in that region, as a geostrategic, threat. So there is also this factor of fighting for, or rather competition for resources. We all know that Africa is endowed with natural resources, including oil, minerals, and rare earth metals, which are crucial for global supply chains. So, ensuring access to these resources or maintaining regional stability to protect global economic interest is a motivating factor for US military involvement. So, America also uses these military bases as strategic ports, as an access to strategic ports and fields and airfields. Okay, so where America has its bases in several key strategic locations across Africa, you realize that these countries are somehow closer to the seas. So America indirectly is trying to have access to those strategic ports and airfields where it can, run its operations. For example, in Djibouti, in the Horn of Africa, which offers critical access points for projecting power and maintaining a military footprint in the region. Okay, so you realize that it is something having a military base in Botswana near the capital, literally in the capital of Borogane, something like that. It is, first of all, a threat to the region. Okay, someone would take it as a positive. America would say, okay, we're trying to provide you with security in the space and in the land. But regional strong countries like South Africa would look at this as a threat in one way or the other. First of all, we understand that South Africa is in the BRICS. BRICS that is not at good terms with America being the leader of the NATO. So it so means that if NATO, that is USA, is in Botswana, according to one of the politicians, Julius Malema in South Africa, he says it only takes America from Botswana 2 minutes to hit one of their special buildings in South Africa, to hit their capital in South Africa. So the presence of American base in Botswana is dangerous, and it is really, really important and very good if the president of Botswana says he is going to close it, because it is posing a threat. Much as at the face value, someone would think that it provides security of some sort in the region. There are several reasons why they are strategically there. Okay, having that footprint and a stronghold of the continent, that's why they have distributed it. There's someone in the southern African part, there's bases in the West African part, there are bases or detaches of some sort in the East African region in Kenya. So in one way or the other, it is working for America. And this is not going down well with Africans that believe that it is time for Africa to be independent. We understand that the president of Uganda refused America having their bases, Europe in this case, France and the United States of America and the UK, who once colonized Uganda, to have military bases in his country, in the country. In Uganda, suggesting that this would infringe in the political affairs of the country. So, if the president of Botswana, Boko Duma, is going in the same direction, now that is important for Africa, and Africa should be jubilating. Africa should be happy, because in one way or the other it helps you to develop your own capacity. Because if there's a big boy in the region, you find sometimes you become lazy to become strong yourself. But if you know that you're vulnerable, then Botswana itself will have the energy to build a strong force by themselves, but also other countries in the region if they want their security to be tight. So you will also realize that America uses these military bases to support friendly governments. It helps, bolster its governments that are strategically aligned with the US interests. For example, the US support for regimes in the countries like Kenya and Ethiopia have been controversial, as these governments have been accused of human rights abuses and autocratic tendencies. Critics argue that the US military presence in these nations supports undemocratic governance in exchange for cooperation and counterterrorism as a strategic objective. The US military also sometimes plays a role in African conflicts by providing support, either directly or indirectly, to certain functions in proxy wars, as it is often in the case of the countries like South Sudan, Central African Republic, the Democratic Republic of Congo. And these interventions, while officially aimed at, promoting stability, can also influence local power dynamics and benefit the US government in the geopolitical objectives. So, there is no way, shape, or form America puts a military base for your benefit as the host country. In most instances, it is there to safeguard their own political or geopolitical objectives as the country. So it is plausible if the president, Duma Boko of Botswana, comes out to say that very soon he is going to he's going to expel the American bases in his country. And this is going to follow the footsteps of countries like Niger, who recently expelled them and replaced them with Russia. We all understand that there's been a drone military base in Niger, which has been used to provide surveillance on the entire continent. So when the coup happened and new president took over, he expelled and closed the military base for the US and welcomed the Russians, Wagner forces, into his country. So the dynamics are changing if African presidents are now starting to come out in a different veil of changing the dynamics of their own security, but also changing the direction of how the politics of this continent should be run, probably entrusting it in the hands of the East. So that's what I thought we would discuss today on Africa Uncovered YouTube channel. My name is DJ. We have been looking at the president of Botswana, Duma Boko, intending to close the American military base in his capital, in his country of Botswana. Bye-bye.